A rusted iron gate creaked in the wind, the sharp sound slicing through the silence of the dense forest. Edward had wandered off the beaten path, but something compelled him to push deeper into the underbrush. The late afternoon sun filtered weakly between the trees, casting eerie shadows that twisted with every gust and shiver of the dying light. As he stepped closer to the gate, he noticed the engravings, twisted vines and faces frozen in an anguished scream. Each line of rust seemed to pulse with a forgotten energy. He had traced every hike in his local area, and yet this gate was not marked on any map. It shouldn't exist. He hesitated, the tangy scent of damp earth and decaying leaves filling the air as a chill raced up his spine. Edward pushed the gate. It swung open slowly, revealing a small clearing. An unnatural stillness enveloped the space, and the air felt heavier, saturated with an almost electric tension. The scent of freshly turned soil invaded his nose. He took a hesitant step inside, shadows flitting around him, almost alive, flickering like the static crawling across an old TV screen. The clearing was filled with humble gravestones, weathered by time and neglect. Names faded into the stone, entangled with vines that snaked upward, as if the earth itself were refusing to let go. The smell of wet moss mingled with something sweeter, something sickly familiar, tickling the back of his throat. Was that the scent of flowers, of a recent funeral? As he wandered farther in, he felt the temperature drop sharply. His breath began to fog in front of him, yet the air was thick, making it hard to breathe. He glanced back at the gate, which now appeared an eternity away. The forest around him shifted. The trees loomed like silent watchers, creaking ever so slightly, whispering his name. Edward's heart pounded in his chest as he approached the nearest gravestone. The name inscribed was Eliara Montrose. The date etched beneath it was impossibly recent. Confusion tightened in his mind, a spark of recognition ignited deep within him. A ghostly figure flickered in the periphery of his vision, a silhouette made of mist against the backdrop of encroaching darkness, and the wind carried a voice, almost a song, echoing along the edges of his comprehension. Suddenly the once still air whipped into a frenzy, dark storm clouds gathering overhead, lightning flickering threateningly in the distance. The song escalated from a whisper to a crescendo, enveloping him, a chilling harmony that resonated with the bones of the earth. With panic tightening his throat, Edward turned to flee, but the sound of footsteps echoed behind him, not his own. The static on the TV in his mind crackled louder, disjointed images flashing before his eyes. A girl with hollowed eyes, her mouth open wide in silent longing, beckoning for something he could not grasp. He dashed back towards the gate, already feeling that strange pull of the forest, trying to hold him back. With every step, the figures of the gravestones seemed to shift, their mournful eyes boring into him, urging him to stay. In one last desperate push, he wrenched open the gate, fleeing into the safety of the trees, the song still echoing in his mind, entwined with the heartbeat of the forest. As he left the strange cemetery behind, the gates slammed shut, rusted chains locking with a clang that echoed through the wilderness. Edward halted, panting, and turned back, but his heart sank. The gate was no longer there, only a wall of trees stood before him, unyielding as if it had never existed. He stumbled back along the familiar trail, the sun casting long shadows that danced in the corners of his vision. And though he would return to camp, talk of the hike around the fire the following night, a part of him would forever remain trapped within that eerie clearing, because the truth buried beneath the earth demanded to be remembered, echoing through the woods long after he had vanished into memory.